is Lady Wendy saying hello. As you know, it's my food for thought every week that I bring to you, and I want to thank you sincerely. I didn't realize I got so much phenomenal response to last week, how to raise happy, healthy children. So if you've missed that, make sure you go on the Lady Wendy YouTube channel and view it because we last week was very good. A matter of fact, the topic I'm going to talk about, someone wrote to me, Doreen, hi, if you're listening, thanks for writing to me. And a matter of fact, that's why I was able to do my talk on this topic. Now, Doreen had a situation where her 11-year-old daughter, she said no to her. And it turned out that Doreen is feeling very guilty because this 11-year-old daughter hasn't really been talking to her, pouting, hasn't spoken to her in about 3 days. So Doreen is feeling a bit guilty. So today I think I'm going to talk about how not to feel guilty and how no is probably a good thing for your kids on many, many fronts. Because when you say no to your children, it is also is a form of, it demonstrates leadership. And it also demonstrates love because a lot of times we confuse love. If I give my children everything, they're going to love us to death. And you know what? You're creating a situation where you cannot buy love. It has to come naturally. And then you're creating, as they get into their adult years, where they figure when no comes their way, they're not able to deal with it. So to raise healthy children, no is something good on many fronts. Because if you say no, you let them recognize that, and then no comes with an explanation. And I'll tell you why. When my son was about 8 years old, and if he's listening, he wanted, I think, a running shoe that was like $149, which would be equivalent in Guyana terms to about $30,000, which is a lot of money. So I said to him, I said, come here, come here. I said, you know what? That $150 running shoe that you want at 8 years old because all your friends are having it, whether it was Nike or whatever the brand name was, your feet is going to grow out not even a year from now. And then what? And I said that 150, your babysitter that mommy and daddy is using, that's what we give her a week. And you know what she does with her? She bought her bus pass to get to work. She buys a little bit of groceries and she does a lot of things with that money. And you want to walk with $150 shoes on your feet that is probably not going to last you a year. And my son, I remember, he listened so attentively because I didn't, some of us as parents, we would say, get away, don't bother me. No. But sometimes it's very good to explain because my father was very good in explaining why we weren't allowed to go to the neighbors, whether we have to do our homework first, whether we have to clean the yard first. So it's very important that you explain because you know what? They will understand. They may not get it at that right time when it's going on, but they'll get it at some point. And you know what? They're not going to love you any less. So what happened with my son? Today, he's now got full scholarship in the NCAA. And prior to that, he was in lots of clubs, basketball clubs. And you know what? He has shoes that pack up in his bedroom that I even sometimes go to him and said, give me one or two shoes for my relatives back home. And you know what? And I said, you see, you don't need all of that to make you happy. Happy come from within. The other thing that people do in flourishing their kids, I call it enabling them, is that they want to say, well, we are friends. Me and my son or me and my daughter are friends. And they blur the line between parenting, I say to people, and loving your kid. You have to be firm and then you can still love your children. Because sometimes we mix up that. Some of us want to be friends. Oh, me and my kid is friend. What you really want to say is that you have that good relationship, but do not blur the list with your leadership role because wanting to be friends is like if you having a friend and you looking for approval from your kids, but it's not approval you really want. You want to be able to lead them so that when you say no to something and when you explain no to some what they're, then at that time they will respect you. We tend to want to say everything. The new generation, the other thing that is big out there is that everything, my kids, sometimes everything they want, they're in a toy store, they want, they want this, they want that, they want that, and we want to give it all to them because we want to say, well, we didn't have it. But then you don't know, you're not doing your kids in the material sense when you give them everything they want, because they will need to step up and stand on their own feet, because they're always going to be expecting something for nothing, and nothing comes from nothing. You have to, whatever you put in is what you're gonna sow. So if you store them out and then it pass on to the next generation where they're just enabling, don't believe that they have to work for it. So you just have to be very, very careful that you teach your children responsibility. You let them stand up for what they believe in. Yes, I don't mean you're not going to give them if it's reasonable, but if you can't afford it or you have alternative plan, you let them know. John or Mary, mommy would love to give you this, mommy would love to give you that, but really not at this time. Or flatly tell them you don't think they need it, and explain to them why they don't need it. So once again, I want to thank you, and of course, when you give them everything, most times they expect it so much that the gratitude is coming. They're not as grateful for what you're doing. So you're still in a bad state anyway. You should feel guilty giving them something that you don't want to give it to them. So Doreen, if you're listening, but this will be on YouTube. Every talk I have goes on YouTube that said day. If you're listening, please note that it's okay. She'll come around. Every kid comes around, and especially if you explain it to her, but let them know that you're the leader and you know what is best for them. And you know what? They are going to love you later on. Might not be right away, but years in their journey, when they get their kids, they'll understand that no, there's nothing wrong. You make better, healthy adults. So once again, for those who are listening out there, I want to thank you for continue supporting the Lady Wendy. I'll be back. Our show is about to commence on September 26th, Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. NCN Channel 11. So look for the Lady Wendy talk show, and we have lots of giveaways. If you want to be a studio audience, remember we are giving a trip to Jamaica. So thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. And remember to share a smile with someone today.